Welcome back, everybody. Scott Capistani here at the Emerald City Sports Show. Next up on our show tonight, we have a very special guest that is with an organization that is making a tremendous amount of national impact in the world of sports. But before we introduce him, we're going to roll a clip that we found on the internet that really defines one thing in sports that really we're going to be talking about with our guest tonight, and it's passion, it's energy, and it's heart. So let's take a look at this clip, folks.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
You shouldn't have any doubt in your mind about what you're supposed to do tonight and about how you're supposed to do it.
This is your time.
No, I don't want them to gain another yard.
We got to go out there and we got to take it.
You take their game and you shove it right back in their face.
That's how winning is done.
A team is something you belong to, something you feel, something you have to earn.
If we don't come together,
It's over.
And I guarantee a week won't go by in your life you won't regret walking out, letting them get the best of you.
I'll ask you one last time.
To be the best that you can be.
Play like champions.
Win.
It's about heart. It's about who can go out there and play the hardest.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. In my book, we're going to be winners.
In any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die,
Willing to take the hits.
who's going to win that inch.
Let me tell you something you don't let anything, nothing, come between us.
On this team, we fight.
And we shut them down because we can.
Welcome back, everybody. Scott Capistani, Emerald City Sports Show. We had to run that clip because the guest that we have right now in our studio has a very unique story to share with us and an organization that he's part of. Right now, joining us live with Proactive Coaching is Maui Borden. Maui, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. What a cool clip.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some of the greatest films in American history. I love it. I get chills every time I see it.
Super. Now, Proactive Coaching right now is a very unique approach to developing coaches and athletes and teams, kind of emphasizing two very unique and oftentimes overlooked traits in athletics, character and integrity. Let's talk a little bit about what Proactive Coaching right now is doing here, not only locally, but also nationally.
Well, thank you, Scott. Proactive Coaching, we have some precepts that we like to speak on to coaches, athletes, parents, and teams. And really kind of focus on those life lessons that you can extrapolate from the athletic experience. There's so many pieces of the athletic experience that get overlooked and that coaches don't intentionally mold. And they focus so much on those X's and O's and the output, which is the scoreboard, and miss some great opportunities to change the lives of young athletes along the way, and really kind of instill in them some traits that they can take through life. And so it's definitely something that I think in this day and age is necessary. If you see in the media all of the issues and legal trouble that some of these star athletes find themselves in, and the kids that look up to them, you can't help but think if some of these athletes, these professional athletes, were taught the right way at a young age, that maybe some of that character would still be there when they were handed $5 million at a very young age. And so that's really where we're at. And I think in this day and age, it's very critical. And I take a lot of pride in being able to speak to these teams and these athletes and these parents about some of the things that we focus on, the life lessons, the character, integrity, mental toughness, selflessness, and really focus the coach's attention on molding that intentionally. And what does that look like in practice? What does that look like in the classroom? What does that look like on the weekends as a high school athlete when you're faced with a lot of challenging decisions as these kids these days are? So,
super.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the founder of Proactive in Bruce Brown. I know he has been a very integral part in, I would say, both of our lives. We've known him now for, what, about 30? I know I've known him for about 25 years, not only as an influential coach, but a mentor in athletics, but also teaching life lessons. Let's talk a little bit about Bruce and how he was able to put this thing together and develop it right here in Puget Sound.
Well, you know, it's funny. I still refer to him as coach because that's how I know him, and that's how I love him, and that's how he'll always be to me. And so he's won championships at just about every level you can, all the way from junior high to college. Is a very respected coach from an X's and O's standpoint. But having played for him, I know that his emphasis was much more on building the character and the traits that we talked about. And while the X's and O's were there, the real focus was, let's do this the right way. What does a great team look like? Here are the components of it. We need leaders. We need a communication triangle between the coaches, leaders, and the rest of the team, and really focusing on those aspects. And so having played for him, I know that formula works. So when I was approached by him to have an opportunity to join the speaking team, I jumped at it because I played in it, and I know it works. And I know that for me, it's something that I look back on and say, that really made me who I am. Not just the athletic experience, but the way that he focused on those really important life lessons. Yeah.
You know, touching on that, Maui, I know back in my early coaching days, I coached some basketball and baseball in the early days, and I know when I went up against some teams that he was a coach of, that he would bring players into the gym or onto that baseball diamond with a whole different look. We always could just see that the players under his command just had something different in their eyes. And clearly, proactive coaching has taken that to a whole nother level. Let's talk about when proactive coaching gets a group of coaches in a room and you guys show up and you address them. Talk about some of the points that maybe you go over with from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, you know, athletics by itself does not build character. It must be intentionally molded by coaches. It's not something that you can all just kind of walk into the same gym and just decide, hey, we're a team and let's go win games. There's certain, I think, benchmarks that you need to hit somewhere along the way. And I think athletics should provide an opportunity for growth. I think that's a very important component of it. Coaches and teams should have standards is what we believe at Proactive Coaching. You know, a lot of coaches at the beginning of the year, they'll go over all the rules of the team and the season and what they want to see happen this year. Don't do this, don't do that, show up on time, you know, all of these different rules. And from our perspective, for Proactive Coaching, we say, you know what, you should have standards. Young athletes will challenge rules. They'll push rules to the edge, whereas standards, they will rise to those standards. And so one of the things that we give an example to coaches on as far as standards, and something that I use as a coach myself is, and it's so simple, it's don't let your buddies down. And if you think about that, what does that not cover? Don't let your buddies down. Don't let your buddies down by not being academically eligible. Don't let your buddies down by making poor decisions on the weekends. Don't let your buddies down by letting your spotlight in a game or you trying to get your stats overshadow what is better for the team. And so it's that simple, the standards of just don't let your buddies down. And so, you know, on a Friday practice, if the kids have the weekend and there's no game, you know, that's usually how we'll end practice. Say, hey, don't let your buddies down this weekend. And that's it. And they know the power in that. And so, again, it's having standards and not rules. Kids will challenge rules where they will rise to the standards. We believe that it's okay for coaches to teach values. That's something that I think is lost in this day and age. And I think it's okay, and coaches need to know, it's okay for you to teach values. I think the character lessons taught by a coach is going to be the coach's greatest legacy.
Super. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the message that you guys have for athletes. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're here live in the studio with Maui Borden with Proactive Coaching. Welcome back, everybody. Scott Capistani here, Emerald City Sports Show, joining us live right now with Proactive Coaching is Maui Borden. We've been talking a little bit about his company, his organization, and the impact that it's making not only on a national level, but also locally here with coaches and athletes. Maui, let's talk a little bit about the role of parents in athletics and what it is that proactive coaching is teaching in that arena.
Yeah, well, you know, Coach Brown has done a great job of developing a program in which we, you know, use as a forum to speak to parents about what is their role in athletics. It's an important one, but I think some of the things that we try to drive home is there are really 4 aspects or 4 roles in a game, in an athletic arena, and that roles are coach, ref, player, and fan. And for parents, you need to pick one. All too often, you hear parents, and it's for me, it's kind of sad to see, but you'll see parents sitting there and they're coaching from the stands, and you know, you've got a kid that's playing in a basketball game, and he makes a shot or does something, and he looks at dad as opposed to looking at the bench. And you know, I think there's a lot of shaky ground when you start getting into that. You know, you think about fast forwarding 10 years down the road when that kid has to go into a job interview and doesn't get that job. And dad's not there to look at. It's a tough thing, and when you start it young, it tends to perpetuate. I think for us, the role of parents in athletics, you have to release them to the game, and I think that's one of our main takeaways is, as a parent, release them to the game. I think for a young athlete to really have a chance at being successful in life, I think one formula that's important is they need to have someone that loves them unconditionally in the home and someone that loves them unconditionally outside of the home. And more often than not, it's the coach. And so, you know, I think for parents, they need to learn to say after the game, instead of avoiding or trying to avoid that post-game fight with dad about, hey, I only had 10 points, it's pretty simple. Just say, hey, I just love to watch you play. And that's it. And so I think it's a very powerful message, and I think it's one that's important in this day and age with what goes on between parents, athletes, refs, and that struggle.
Super, super. Maui, I tell you, you know, it's just, I'm so happy to have had you, and finally, I know I've been talking with Bruce over the last couple of years to either get himself or a representative here, and who would have thought a longtime friend would be able to share that message. For those of you that want more information on proactive coaching, go ahead and jump on their website, take a peek or look around if you're a coach or an athlete, or maybe you know of an organization that is out there, you're kind of looking into taking your organization or your team maybe to a new level. Take a look at those guys. And that should do it right here, guys. We're going to wrap things up here with Emerald City Sports Television. But before we go, we want to encourage you at home or abroad, wherever you're at, if you have a unique story maybe on a local athlete or somebody maybe right here in the Puget Sound region that has an inspiring story or something unique to tell, we'd love to hear about it right here on the show. There's our email right there on the screen. You can drop us an email, maybe some comments, and maybe get somebody in to talk sports and talk motivation and inspiration. I'm Scott Capistani for the Emerald City Sports Show, signing out with Maui Borden here as our guest tonight with Proactive Coaching. Make it a great night.